Hello all of you, Christoph the Polish Geek is here with another video for you all, and this time it's a news video. I don't make that many of the news videos actually, unless it's something that I really think is important and it's worth talking about, like potential fantastic news about Steel Ball Run anime, or like this, which I think is something that is very important to talk about, because I just really need to express my thoughts on here, because this is... Yes, we are getting more Lord of the Rings movies, and I will really have to talk about what I think about it. Although I will say first now, spoiler alert, do I like the idea? No, but we'll get to it later. But before we get to it though, first I'll say this. I think J.R.R. Tolkien is the single best storyteller and world builder in the history of mankind. And I don't think there were that many writers that ever were able to reach the heights of J.R.R. Tolkien. Sure, there are plenty of fantastic writers out there, but honestly, I don't really think anyone has ever been such a magnificent storyteller as J.R.R. Tolkien. The only one who really came close, I think, is my favorite Polish writer, Henryk Sienkiewicz. He's probably like the only storyteller that I think could rival Tolkien in terms of magnificent storytelling, although then again, I also think you truly have to understand and appreciate Polish history to really love Henryk Sienkiewicz, while Tolkien basically could appeal to anyone. But yes, I think J.R.R. Tolkien will always be the most magnificent storyteller and greatest world builder that has ever lived. And the Lord of the Rings movies, the adaptations of the books of course, the Lord of the Rings movie trilogy by Peter Jackson are my most beloved movies ever made. There is not a single movie I love as much as the Lord of the Rings trilogy by Peter Jackson. And you probably hear how sometimes people say it's very hard to pick a favorite movie. And yes, this is very true. For a long time I was the type of a guy who would say that I don't really have a favorite movie because there are just so many movies I love, and it's still somewhat holds true actually. And also my mood changes and I'm often in the mood to watch a different movie, you know how it goes. But yes, if I pick a favorite movie, it will always be the Lord of the Rings trilogy by Peter Jackson, and I watch the trilogy every year. At least once a year I will always watch that magnificent trilogy. And I actually gave it a whole you should be watching treatment on last Christmas. Not the most recent Christmas, last year's Christmas, which was like a year and a half ago. But yes, I gave it a whole you should be watching video. Maybe someday though I should probably even do a longer video of why this trilogy, it will always be a cinematic masterpiece. But that's again a video for another time. And yes, I do really love the Hobbit movies. I think they are very underrated. They are nowhere near as good as the Lord of the Rings movies, but then again, nothing is. I still very much love the Hobbit movies for what they are. And I probably also should actually someday do a video of why I think the Hobbit movies are very underrated and that they don't deserve the hate they get. But don't get me started on the rings of plagiarism, that should never been made. But now, let's get to why I don't think even more movies set in the Middle-earth are a good idea, even if they are made by Peter Jackson and they're the Serkis, which they are. But yes, I'm pretty sure many people will be defending, oh, this is Peter Jackson, it's in good hands. Nope, I don't think so, and I say that as someone who thinks the Hobbit movies are very underrated. Because honestly, first and foremost, I think that Middle-earth universe created by J.R.R. Tolkien is something very special. It's, as I already said in the beginning, J.R.R. Tolkien is the greatest storyteller and greatest world builder that has ever lived. And I think that, and that was also one of the biggest issues of the dreaded Rings of Power that I already talked about, that, honestly, that Middle-earth is not something that should be really turned into a mega-style universe, kind of like Marvel, DC, and now Star Wars. Especially that, as things show, among many other reasons, Star Wars is not in a good place right now. Partially actually because of being made into such a mega franchise by this point. Yes, we always had those magnificent expanded universe books and video games, Knights of the Old Republic, Darth Plagueis novel. Yes, but at the same time, they were usually told in a book format or a video game format, which worked wonderfully. But now when you just create so many different TV shows and movies, it just kind of loses its charm. And I actually think that the same thing will probably now happen with Middle-earth, which is really bad because the Middle-earth world is just so magnificent, it's so full of magic, like probably nobody would want the Middle-earth to be now just turned into just like random mega franchise multiverse type story. That was actually one of the biggest problems with the dreaded Rings of Power, or as I already call it, Rings of Plagiarism, whatever. Like, outside of the fact that the world nowhere near does resemble Middle-earth nor Tolkien's works, but also in some ways, I just think created by so many various different movies, TV shows, all set in Middle-earth, kind of really diminishes the true magic of the Middle-earth. Because truly the true magic really comes from the books. And yes, I already said, we have the Peter Jackson movies, which are my favorite movies of all time, but then again, if we just start creating various different movies set in the Middle-earth and in also the Peter Jackson version of it, then both the books and the movies just completely lose the magic. Especially that, I mean, it happened already anyway, but as much as I love the Peter Jackson trilogy, when I loved Tolkien's books, I try to immerse myself in the world how it originally intended to be immersed, like way before the adaptation ever actually existed. And Peter Jackson completely recaptured the original magic of the books. I mean, I actually saw the movies way before I ever read the books, but it's clear from the Peter Jackson trilogy how much love and passion Peter Jackson always had for that universe. But at the same time, I still think we should somehow be able to imagine this universe on our own, instead of the fact that Peter Jackson version of it basically became the default version of it. And therefore I think that there shouldn't be really any more adaptations of the Middle-earth. It's not even that I don't think they will necessarily be bad, like, I don't know, I can't really make any assumptions until the movies actually came out, but at the same time, I really think that the Tolkien verse is not something that should be used lightly. It's really something special. I don't think that they really should turn it into a mega franchise like Star Wars or Marvel. It just doesn't work for Middle-earth. We have all the fantastic books created by J.R.R. Tolkien. We have a magnificent trilogy by Peter Jackson. And we even have the Hobbit movies, which I think are very underrated. And really, that's really all we need from Middle-earth. We don't need any more movies. I mean, we certainly don't need any more of the Amazon's crap, but even when it comes to good stuff, I just don't think we need any more. I mean, I will still slowly see War of the Rohirrim, because that's basically an anime take on it, but at the same time it will be like a standalone small-scale story set in the universe of Middle-earth. But what it seems is that these movies are basically, I mean, these new movies they're about to come out, it seems like they just want to like keep expanding the franchise to more and more directions. And I don't think Middle-earth is just something that it should be done with. No. This is a very sacred franchise that I think at this point should be just left alone. And one more reason actually, although that's a secondary, but I've seen some people talking about it, and that's also another reason why I don't think it's a good idea, but it's admittedly a minor reason. I also don't think Gollum Smeagol is really the type of character that works as a protagonist in his own movie. Gollum is just not the type of character that really fits for a spin-off. So, yes, here are my honest thoughts of why I think we don't really need any more movies set in the Middle-earth, and why I think this franchise should be left alone. So, thank you ladies and gentlemen for checking out this video. Press the like button, please subscribe to this channel, and do you think it's a good idea to make more movies in the Middle Earth? Talk to you later, bye!